So for anyone that's just joining, we're just painting the background, a nice dark color of choice. And I am going for a strong pigment, so I'm not adding water to this background. If you want to, you can, it's totally up to you. If you want to do like an ombre background, like one color filling into another, that's fine. Any way you want to paint this background, you can. I'm doing a simple solid color, so that's my approach for today. But if you wanted to do something a little different, feel free. This is your art. And I'm just doing it nice and smooth, horizontal brush strokes, just to fill this background. And if you wanted to use the water just to move around the paint pigment that you have, feel free if that doesn't disturb the thickness per se of your paint pigment. Just have some fun and get this down. But this is time for you to take a couple deep breaths as we enjoy this time together amongst the time of the year, checking our own lists, making lists, checking lists, all those things. And as we're doing this, is anyone traveling for the holidays? Is anybody getting on an airplane or going for a long car drive, or are most folks staying local?
We always go from where we live in the White Mountains
Yep.
down to where our entire family is. They're not all in the same town,
Yep.
but they're all in the same area.
Yep.
And we stay at an inn so that we can bounce around,
Yep.
show up for brunch here, for dinner there, we'll be there for 3 days. I mean,
Oh, wow.
yeah, we also have our things that because we used to live there. So
Oh, okay.
there are things that we like to do. We're going down to the Monadnock area,
Okay.
which is, I don't know, 3 hours from here.
Okay.
So we're not going far, but we get to go to the Cathedral of the Pines and walk around. I mean, we get to
Nice.
do, you know, things like what we
Yeah.
used to do.
The
So,
things that you like to do when you used to be there.
yes. Yes.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Nice.
So it's exciting. If I had to drive further, I don't think I would enjoy it,
Yeah.
but it's not that bad. Plus we usually shop on the way in Peterborough, and
Yep.
you know, we get to have some fun.
That's good. I love it.
Nice.
3.5, 3 hours is not too bad. That was my drive to Mass when I was a kid growing up and this and that. So that's doable. Absolutely doable.
Yeah.
Not
We
too
will
bad.
do more.
Amazing.
And I'm hoping the weather's going to be all right. I don't know what's happening tonight. It seems like we're going to get flooding rain. We'll either get flooding rain or solid ice or a bunch of snow. Something's going to happen.
Is that
It's
what's happening in New
raining
Hampshire?
here.
Vermont's pretty depressing right now. It's going to get warm, I think. And then it's going to get a Monday here. It's going to be like in the 50s, which is crazy.
Yeah.
And then it's going to be sunny all week in Vermont. I just looked at the weather. So we'll see.
Yeah, we actually have a flood watch out in southern Vermont right now. It's
Is
depressing.
there?
No, yeah, it should be snow.
I know, it's so sad. Let me hit my refresh. Actually, I'm such a nerd. I love looking at the weather because I like to like plan ahead.
Although my son's flying up from Georgia on Friday, so
Okay. Well, the weather for Friday looks clear.
perfect.
We'll see. But you know what? Glass half full, ladies. Good weather for friends and family traveling is a really good thing compared to
Yep.
bad weather. I've done a lot of bad weather drives and it's not fun.
That is true, for sure.
Absolutely. Yeah, not fun at all. All right, let me see here. I have a big box of chocolates right here. I forgot to bring to my last party. I'm like, I have to get these chocolates out of my house. What's another party I have to go to here? Oh, how many people are going to be here? How many people are going to be there?
How are you feeling?
Oh, I'm feeling good. Thank you.
Good.
Yeah. Janice, I told some of the group, but my husband and I are expecting baby number 2. So, very exciting.
Oh my
I
gosh,
I
congratulations, Meredith.
know. Thank
awesome.
you.
And have you
I'm,
told your
um,
son yet?
I'm sorry.
Have you told your son yet?
We have. He's having a little brother.
Oh my gosh, I bet he's thrilled.
He is. He's very excited.
That's awesome. What great holiday news. Thanks for sharing.
Oh, I know. I know. It's so exciting. And I'm so excited to share it with the community because it's a blessing. We did IVF. We had to work a little harder for it. So, we feel very blessed that it worked out for us. But yes, I was telling Susan and Sharon in the past that I was feeling very sick for many, many weeks. So I'm grateful to be feeling better again. I'm 17 weeks today, so it's good.
Yep.
I know.
Cool.
One of my
I always
friends.
was sick as a dog too.
Oh.
I mean, just awful.
It's
I
not
didn't
good.
have to be. I always felt though when I heard the news about Princess Kate having to be hospitalized.
I know.
Yeah.
Oh my God, thank God that didn't happen to me. It was
Some
close.
people have it so much worse, you know?
Yep.
Ugh.
My
lot of
sister-in-law was
celebrities.
hospitalized. My sister-in-law was hospitalized a couple times
Oh,
with her
because of like
pregnancy.
dehydration from like vomiting and stuff.
Yeah, yeah, she was
Not
so
good.
sick.
Ugh.
Yeah.
And I mean, I remember that feeling of just constant nausea
Yeah.
and throwing up and oh God.
Yeah. It's
And
not
then it
fun.
passes. Then it almost as soon as it shows up, it's like gone.
I know.
It's so strange.
It's
I don't know
wacky.
what that is.
Yeah. It's wacky for sure.
Yeah. Yep.
And we know in the, when you're in the moment, it's just, you're miserable and you know it's going to pass, but it's just like nothing can really make it better while you're
Mm.
in that
Nope.
moment, you know? So I peeled off my tape. I know folks are still painting. Take your time. Just gonna fix some of this here. I had bleeding, probably because I didn't push down hard enough, which is fine. On my tape, but my tape came up easily, Jean, with no tearing of my paper, so that's all good. And it's okay to always, you can always do a little cleanup. I am, sometimes when I painted on a canvas that like how Janice is painting on, sometimes I did like a black frame, a gentle black frame, like around the edge that kind of comes onto the front. And it's come out really cool. So depending on, what you're painting on, and you can always do different types of edging based on, what your flavor is or like what your ideas are. So just be open to that. And we've done some classes where we've done taping, but we've done like the on off. So like with the overflowing flowers, I don't know if anybody was ever a part of those classes. Those were really fun, where we did flowers that was, I don't know, I wouldn't want to say a bouquet, but it was like loose spring-like flowers kind of overpouring the edges of the frame, which kind of looked neat.
I remember a sunflower one that we
Yep,
did.
there
That.
was a sunflower one, and I did another tiny dainty one too. It's over on it's in my studio wall over behind me. The sunflower one was the bigger flower. I did another one before that with like more dainty flowers. But the sunflower was the same. Yes. Same effect. But we have a really fun for AARP. I think it's Vermont in February. We're doing a really cool design. It's different. It's like the shape of a heart, but there's like flowers that are inside of the heart shape. So it's kind of abstract, but simple. So it'll be quite fun, I think, to do something a little bit different.
I've been watching for the links and I'm not seeing them.
Yeah, I just found the Vermont one for Susan because she was interested. I'll put it right here in the chat again. So if Janice is interested in signing up, she can too. So there is there's a Vermont link Oh, and here's Jenny. Jenny's been trying to get in and I've been ignoring Miss Jenny. Sorry, Jenny. Here she comes. Jenny, sorry about that. You haven't missed too much. All right. So we'll let Miss Jenny join. Jenny, we're just doing, we're painting a dark background of choice here. So I did like a dark green today and I did a frame. So if you wanted to paint the dark background, this is our inspiration today. So fun. So I want everybody's backgrounds to be painted and we want them to get to be dry. So many of you know this, but as you paint, you know, being mindful of like how much paint you're putting on your canvas will, you know, help it. You'll be a little bit more aware of how quickly it's going to dry or not. For me, I did a taping area here, so I'm just gonna kind of do a little tiny bit of touch up here or there. It's pretty close. Jenny, if you have a pencil for today's class, that will probably be helpful for a little bit of sketching. For our cup placement, the size and the scale, and then we'll do some other fun designs along the way. But I'll give everyone a minute, and Jenny, take your time. I know you're gonna have to paint your whole background. If you don't want to paint the background, no problem, but you're welcome to for contrast. But it's so great to see everyone today.
I actually have a black canvas for today.
Oh, how convenient. Love
Yeah, good where I was late, so.
Yeah, perfect. So, for whoever's ready, and there's no rush here. Let me see how dry mine is. Mine's fairly dry. I'll look around the room. Janice is still working, so take your time, Janice. I think people's are still probably pretty wet. I'll give everybody a few minutes here. But Jenny, and if anybody else is dry, you can start sketching how big you want your cup to be. If you wanted to wait, I'll give folks, just to be mindful of time here, I'll give folks 3 solid minutes just to finish painting, and we'll give a few minutes again for it to dry. So I'll keep an eye on the clock and give folks a couple minutes. Jenny, do you have any more shows left for this season? Are you all done for the holiday, or do you do anything close up to Christmas itself?
Nope, I'm all done for the season. I won't have any until spring.
Nice. That's terrific.
Yeah.
Do you have any, I know you do a lot of different services. Do you have any products that you sell as well?
Yeah, I've actually been working. I make handmade knit gnomes for special
cute.
orders for people. Yeah, so I've been spend my creativity right now.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Do you use like fabrics and you like stuff the gnomes?
I actually knit the hat and knit the body.
Oh,
And then
so cute.
yeah, and I stuff it, and then I don't have one here to show you, unfortunately, but you can see it on my Facebook page.
Nice. Yeah, I'll have to check it out. I love that.
I'll send you a picture of one.
Yeah. Oh, so fun. I love gnomes. I think they're so fun.
They
I
are.
just got one as like a Yankee Swap gift of my mom's. My mom had a Grinch party last weekend. And we won one with like the long dangling legs, which are just so cute.
Yeah. Yeah, I actually did one for a Yankee Swap with my ladies golfing league.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Love it.
Something different and
I
unique.
know. Absolutely.
Those Grinch parties are the thing. Everybody's having a blast at a Grinch party.
Grinch
I want to go to a Grinch party.
Oh
I
my
haven't-
gosh. I gotta send you guys a picture. Let me see if I can find it. I don't
I've
know.
never
Some of
heard of
you
it.
are friends with me on Facebook. Let's see here. There was a picture of my son in a Grinch outfit that my mom bought.
Aw.
My mom is a little crazy when it comes to parties because she was like into Pinterest related things before Pinterest, if that makes any sense. So
Yeah.
she's like uber creative, kind of in a little crazy way. Gotta love her. And she bought my son the cutest little Grinch outfit. Let me see if I can copy and paste it into here. It was like a full like one piece. She got it like JCPenney or at like Kohl's or something. And I just dropped it to the chat window. It's so cute. But he was just like, this was like such a natural, like happy shot. And he was just like in his little Grinch costume. And it was so much fun.
Oh, that's cute.
He's
Yeah.
adorable.
Oh, thanks. This is him actually, you know, most of the time he's not looking at the camera when we tried taking pictures of him. So this was like a good one. Ah, but anyways, her Grinch party. I've never been to one, Susan, and it's interesting because you know, she had all these Grinch related ornaments she was giving away, and she had a Grinch tree this year, which she's never had a Grinch tree. And she just like she had fun with the theme, really.
Yeah,
So
it looks like this isn't the first one I've heard about.
Hmm.
And the kids look adorable dressed in the little
I know.
Cindy Lou Who and the Grinch costumes. And
I know. It's hilarious. So I mean, I think any type of theme party is always really fun.
Yeah.
But we'll jump right into, if folks need a little more time to let your picture dry, feel free, but to be mindful of time, we'll get into a little bit of sketching. This is where you get to figure out how big or small you want your cup to be. Now, the biggest thing is you want a little bit of that green padding or space all the way around your cup, because you want the cup to, for me, it's going to fill the center, but excuse me, but you can decide if you want it to be big or small. So for me, I'm going to go for the bottom of the cup first, and I'm finding the center, and I'm going to do a small line for the bottom of the cup. And I have pencil. I'm sorry. It's like, so see if I can get my lighting better here for us. So you can see if I hold this down, I have a little line right here. I'll keep my finger right here so you can see it. Let me see if I can turn another light on. All right. And then I'm going to do a little dot for the top of the cup. So the top of the cup is actually going to be like the whipped cream on top. It's like the very top of the whipped cream. And I'm going to do it right about here. So I have a little dot here, which you can actually see that little dot right there. And then I have a dot right here. I'll keep my finger here because you can't see this one. So now once you have your whipped cream on top and you want to find the middle of where you want like the top of your cup to be. So for me, you can have as much or as little whipped cream as you want, but use this middle area dot for the top of the cup itself. So I'm going to come up just about halfway. It's going to be a little higher than halfway. So my middle dot is right here. Let me see if this light will work. A little bit. So my middle dot is here. And then I just want you to like figure out where do you want the edges of your cup to be. So for me, I'm just going to do a little improv and I'm just going to do a little bit of sketching. And we're just doing a large U-like shape for the cup. Now there's tons of different coffee cup shapes. You can start to see some of that shape come out. And the cup is going to have like a little bit of a bend by that line. See if I can give you a little bit of lighting here. You can see that. So play with your cup shape. I'm using the pencil just to get it right. We're going to paint our cup red. So we're going to be painting right over these silly pencil lines. So just take a few minutes to get your cup shape. You can draw your handle. If you want to make your cup bigger, you can make your cup bigger. My cup is just getting bigger naturally. Imagine that. We're just getting a little bigger here. It's okay. I like big cups anyways. And then my handle is going to be over here. And I'm going to just do an outer handle first. And then I'm going to do the inner part here. And I'm not worried about all of these lines because I'm going to paint this all red. And you can paint it red after. And if you even want to play with like a little bit of the dollop outline, you can. I'm going to have a little point at the top. I'm going to do like a 1, 2, 3 dollop whipped cream situation on top. or it could be frothed milk, whatever your fancy is here, ladies and gents. That's gonna be white. So we're doing a red cup and white frothing, okay? So I'm just gonna start painting with red. We're gonna keep this so easy and simple. You can see I have lots of green space around my cup. And I'm gonna probably use a brilliant red just because it's gonna be a little bit more of a pop on this green. If you don't have a brilliant red, you can use crimson with a little bit of white. That'll be fine too. And you can use any size brush that you have. You don't need to use a big brush. You could use like a medium-sized brush, like a number 5 or a medium flat tip, whatever you have, be just fine. We just want you to be in control over your brush strokes. I'm going to mix this red around. And again, I have lots of lines. If you wanted, we're going to need 2 coats of paint on top of this dark green or dark background color. If you wanted to do adding a little bit of white to your red to kind of help cover up some of that darker color, you can. Because we're going to do 2 coats anyways. So this will kind of help really cover it up if you wanted to add a little bit of white to this. It's not going to hurt anything. It's actually making it a little bit more vibrant for me, a little bit more brighter in color. It's not really turning pink. I didn't add too much. But just take a minute and you can paint your cup in. Use a nice smooth brush stroke. Go, take your time and go really nice and slow and steady on the edges of the cup. And just like anything, we're going to do basic colors first. I'm going to let it dry. Add another color if we need to. If anyone has any questions, please let me know. Going nice and slow. And I love the vibrant red on the dark green. It looks really great. It's going to look really pretty and vibrant on any dark color that you've chosen for the background. And you can see I have brush strokes. I'm not worrying about that right now. I'm just getting a nice smooth first coat down. So I'm really not even worrying about those brush strokes because I'm going to paint right on top of them. But you do want nice and smooth edges. I love this. Does anyone have a favorite holiday mug? I really feel like I should have one and I just don't have one. Some people do and some people don't. I feel like I'm missing out. I need to go like on a hunt next year or something.
I have a gnome one that's a Christmas one, but I use it all year round, so it doesn't
You
really.
do? Well, that must be a favorite then.
It is.
Nice. Yeah, I don't think I do. I think I used to. I'll probably have to dig through my cupboard. I probably have one. Just I don't have one that's coming to mind immediately. I just bought one as a gift. It was actually really cool. It said it's the most wonderful time of the year. And it had a candle inside of it. So it was like a mug with a candle. So when you're done burning the candle, you can use the mug. And it was a great size mug and it had a nice handle on it. And it was, you know, a decent size. It wasn't too small or too big. And it was green and it had white text on it. So it was very, you know, could have been good for anybody. And I gave it away in a Yankee swap. It's one of those things where you buy something you think you would like, and other people might like it too situation. So keep an eye out for it again. But I thought that was a fun idea. So look how misshaped my mug is. These are the things that happen. And I'm just like looking at this and just saying, it's okay, I can fix it. Let's just fix it. So for me, one side is a little higher. I'm just gonna fix it. This is where you don't sweat all those details. You just take your time. You just make adjustments. The shape is a little bit more, needs to be a little more rounded over here. So this is where you can kind of play with the shape of your mug which is a, a pretty important part of today's class, being happy with your mug. I just had to reshape this side a bit. And I'm gonna let it dry. Come back to it. And it's okay for our mugs to get a little wider here and there. These things happen. There we go. It's a little better. And I'm going to be really patient. If I keep playing with this red, it's going to get tacky with my second color. So I'm going to let this dry patiently. And I'm going to go up and paint my white next. So we'll do things in steps today, like we usually do. You're welcome to grab a clean brush if you're feeling lazy for I'm sure many of you have lots of brushes. I'm going to grab a nice white, and I grabbed this is probably a number 3 or 4. I'm going to come up and I'm going to paint my frothing here. It's got a few fun layers, a couple fun dolloping layers. And you can kind of stay away from the red area if it's really wet, but just you can come down as close to it as you want. And I'm just going to start with the white frothing. Just again doing basic layers. And we will write season's greetings on our mug after, which will be really fun. I'm just going nice and slow. I will do a second coat for the white. Again, we're painting on a dark background, so this is where we just acknowledge we'll need another coat. And I have a little bit of a whip curl on the top of my mug, on top of my frothing here. So you can grab a smaller brush if you need to, but just take your time. We're filling this in. I have lots of brush strokes. I'm not aiming for perfection right now. I'm just filling in some base coats. I'm doing a nice smooth line right on top of the red. And if I don't let my white dry enough, when I go in for a second coat, it might feel a little sticky. So it's good to just let it dry entirely before doing a second coat. You'll feel it out based on the quality of paint you're using. Is anyone asking Santa for any new paint supplies for Christmas? Or does everybody have what they need?
I have what I need.
Yeah.
I actually had the best of both worlds. I was shopping for some others at Michael's last week when they had a sale and decided it only seemed right to stock up.
Yay! I like that. I like that. Terrific. Yeah, Michael's had a great pre-holiday sale on so many things. Yeah, there was like brushes, paints, canvases, like so many things were on sale. So I'm so glad you took advantage of that. I got this year at Michael's for that sale. I got some new sprigs for my Christmas tree because it was like buy one, get 3 free, which was just tremendous.
I did that with bows. It was buy 2, get 3 free.
Oh, wow. That's amazing. I love that. So my red is still a little wet and my white is drying. I'm going to clean my brushes patiently here. And we can talk a little bit about like what you're interested in adding to your picture today. Now, there are so many fun elements on this inspiration, and I just want to talk through them so you can choose what you might want to add. So some of the things that I really like outside of the mug and the things that are sticking inside of the mug, there's holly, which I think could be a really beautiful addition. There are snowflakes. We could do tiny snowflakes, like real designed snowflakes in today's class if people are interested. There's
Yeah.
like little oranges and there's like little white sprigs. So you tell me what stands out to you. I think doing the holly would be a really nice touch. There is this coaster or plate underneath the cup we could also add. Which I think would be a nice touch. So maybe we'll do that next as our white is drying and our red is drying. And I think that like a little plate or coaster in a light blue would be really pretty because blue and green and red and all those colors go really well together. So if anybody wants to add this with me, you're welcome to. I'm taking just a small dollop of blue and I used Blue Lake as a tone. You can use any color as you wish. But I'm going to make it a lighter color. And if you wanted to add a little bit of phthalo green to this too, you could to kind of give it like a mint julep kind of color. I'll show you what that looks like if you want to get a little crazy here. But I'm just going to grab a small to medium sized brush of choice. Let's see, what brush is this? This is a number 3. And I'll hold this here so you can see what color I mix. So I have a little bit of white and I have a little bit of blue. Let's bring these together first. So it's about finding a color that you like. I want it to be fairly light in color. So you'll need very little paint pigment, right? See how light I'm going here? I'm mixing it with like a lot of this white and not a ton of the blue. So this is like a baby blue, which would work, but I can add a little bit of a green tone to it, which would give me a little bit of a mint julep touch, which would also be really pretty. So again, with these classes, you can pick and choose what colors you want to use where. I'm going to bring just a little bit of this in. See what this looks like.
Was it Blue Lake that you used, Megan?
I did.
Okay, got it.
So this is like a blue, like bluish green, which is great. I do a little paint management as I'm blending these colors and I transition. I don't want there to be too much paint on this brush, which you can see here. It's just enough. And you could do a little planning of how far down you want this to come. So maybe I want my plate to maybe just to come there for right now. And then I can kind of center my plate on how far out or how narrow I want it to be. So your dish here, you can figure out how small you want it to be, but you can just do a little gentle outlining with a gentle hand. Let's see. Just do some gentle outlining to figure out the shape. You can always start small, you can always make it bigger. I'm going to paint the whole thing. And this is just it's gonna prevent our cup of your favorite warm beverage from floating on the page. You're actually putting it on something, which is quite nice. You're gonna go right up underneath the red. So just take your time finding that balance of shape, how big or how small. You can always reshape an object if it gets a little wonky. But just take your time, do nice, smooth, clean brush strokes. Managing how much paint is on your brush. Finding a brush that you feel like you're in control over is another really important thing, right? We don't always talk about that. We talk about sizes, but finding a brush that you like and that it likes you, right? We have relationships with our brushes. And it's at different times in our classes, you know? Of like, are you working for me right now? I like this brush, but is it working for me right now, right? Finding those nice smooth brush strokes. Because there's white pigment in this paint color, I may not need a second coat. Now, we're gonna do a nice clean edge here with the red. So don't worry too much if the blue gets in the red or not, if the cup gets in the red, because you can give the edge a nice clean line. And we'll do a little bit of shading as well. So if anybody wants to get a little fancy with me, you can take a tiny touch of black on the tip of your brush and bring it down here and just make a little bit darker of a tone. And you can do a small underline to add a little shading. You just see it's making a little, you can even make it a little darker. So there we go. And you can spin your brush to manage how much paint is on it. And I'm going to do and you can grab a smaller brush if you want. I'm being a little risky here. I would probably use a smaller brush. But I'm just going to do a really thin line on the underside of the cup in this blue area to add just a little bit of shading. This is just a little bit of an extra detail. If you don't want to do it, you don't have to. But I love these colors. How are you feeling about these colors? Isn't it really fun?
Mm.
Holiday. Okay. So I'm just adding a little bit. You can even blend some of this in if you want. If you don't want a clean line, you could just kind of take some of your other blue and blend it in. This is where you can be as kind of abstract or as simple as you wish with some of this. This is a little bit of a dimension shaded component. So you can play with that a little bit of how visible you want it to be or not. And we're letting our cup dry and we're letting we have a little dish here, okay? There are a little bit of like black details on the dish. We're gonna let the dish dry first before we do that. But I am going to, if you want to go in and do a second coat for the red, while we're right here, you can go in and do a second coat for the red on the cup. This won't take very long because the other layer is likely dry by now. And the second layer of red will cover up any of your pesky brush strokes and will add a nice solid color. So I'm doing a quick coat, a second coat of red. You shouldn't need another coat after that. You can add one if you want to. Everybody's paint is a little bit different. See how this goes. I'm going for this vibrant red tonight. You want to do nice clean brush strokes up against the white whipped frothin'. I will do another coat of white as well. But these are the things that we just take an extra minute to do, these second coats, because they go such a long way in these classes. It really will make a lot of our details stand out and shine when you have a nice solid feature area. And this is one of the features of our picture. And it's making it a little brighter. If anybody wants to play with shading on the red cup, it's not, I wasn't planning on adding shading to the cup tonight. I was gonna keep it like a nice simple composition. If you wanted to add shading to the cup, you're welcome to. You can make that choice or not. I'm gonna keep it a flat red cup tonight intentionally. Because we're gonna have fun with a lot of the other details. And when you paint, you have to make choices on how you spend your time, right? Because we always don't have 3 or 4 hours to spend on every painting that we do. It's really just about the experience, taking an hour and a half of our time and creating something fun, right? Making the most of it. But I'm loving this one so far. It's so fun. Nice and relaxing and simple. I love the simple ones. I'm doing nice clean edge on the left and on the right of the cup. And you can do the same thing with the white frothing too. So once I'm done this red, I'm going to shift up to the white frothing just to get the white and the red done. And then we can add everything else. Right. So the red is pretty close for me. Just going to be patient, let it dry. If I need to do any additional touch-ups, I might do a little bit on my handle. That's fine. I also didn't mix any white with this red round of red, which some of you might have been smart and mixed white with this. I didn't. I just used flat red. If I added a little bit of white to this, it probably would have covered it up all entirely. But I'm going to do my second coat of white with a nice clean brush. Cleaning my brushes along the way. All right. So let's see here. I'm just going to do some nice smooth brush strokes on top of this white. Some of your white may already look perfect and dandy, all good. But we'll jump into some of the holly detail next once we are done our mug and letting our mug dry entirely. I have a nice white froth happening, which I'm very excited to put sprinkles on, and a candy cane and a cinnamon stick. Oh, so many delicious things. Has anyone made any delicious baked goods yet for the holiday? Any favorites or going to? I always love hearing favorite recipes.
I make chocolate peppermint chip cookies
So chocolate base with peppermint.
in it, and then with chocolate and peppermint chips inside.
Ooh, that
Those,
sounds delicious.
yeah, I've got stuff all measured out. It just takes me a while to. I have to do things like in stages.
Yeah. Imagine
So.
that. There's a process behind something that sounds complicatedly delicious.
Well, it's just like I can't physically, I'm not able to just get everything done all at once either. So
Totally. Yeah, no, that makes sense. 100%. That sounds delicious. Is this something that is you've found over the years, or something you've just stumbled upon, or someone
I
else?
I like stumbled upon the recipe quite a few years ago, and they've become a tradition because like my son loves chocolate and peppermint. So,
Yum. That's terrific.
and
Well,
my little neighbor friends, they're 7 and 5, almost 6, and they love them too. So,
oh, I love this. Well, if I lived nearby, I would come by for a taste test.
I would share.
I know. You're like, I would share. I love this. So thank you so much for sharing that. I actually made peppermint shortbread cookies for the first time this year because I also love peppermint, and I've never made shortbread in my life, and it was incredibly hard, but they came out great because I was patient with the process.
I've never done shortbread either. What's the
They are like, and anybody that's done shortbread, feel free to chime in or laugh at me here, but they get really crumbly. So like the dough is really crumbly, and you have to like pack the dough and like pray for the dough to stick together while it refrigerates.
gotcha?
And then you have to try to use a cookie cutter to cut a shape out of it without it breaking. It's quite
Oh.
thrilling. But I worked my way through it. It took me like 2 or 3 hours to make them, but they came out fabulous.
Nice.
I used peppermint extract instead of vanilla extract, and they were just like so delicious. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, they were really good. But I would encourage you, if you like baking, to try to do shortbread. It was a fun challenge. I didn't read the recipe before I started because I like baking, and I'm like, I can bake anything. And it was quite thrilling. Ah, so naive. So what we'll do is we'll start to add a little bit of holly, ladies, as our mug is drying here, ladies and gents. I mixed a little bit of light green and white together here. And I want you to use a small brush of your choice. Some of you may already be here, but I'm just gonna do, I'm gonna do a couple sprigs of holly kind of off the side of my mug to start. And then I'm just gonna tuck it in other areas. So we're gonna have like overflowing areas where we're gonna have objects like half on, half off the page. So just have fun with whatever next steps you want. Everybody's is gonna look a little different. But using a small brush, holly is kind of pointy on the top. And it kind of has these like this like inward shape with these funky style leaves. So any way that you want to play with the shape of holly, this one's pretty narrow, so I'm going to make it a little bit bigger.
Could you say what you did with the green again, Megan? I'm sorry.
No, it's okay. I did light green and white paint.
Okay.
Yep. It's a little vibrant, but I'm rolling with it. And then I'm going to do a little bit over here. So I'm going to do 3 little pieces of holly. It's kind of tucked into this space. Just use your eye, have fun with it. There's no right or wrong here. We're just going to focus on adding this element to the painting. And I may get a smaller brush to kind of help with some of these fine points, but I'm not going to worry too much about that right now. I'm just going to be careful with the tip of the brush that I have. And we're going to connect these holly with a little sprig as well. So I'm going to make a little sprig that's going to kind of connect it to my white froth area. And I'm just going to connect it here. These are kind of rounded, which looks kind of funny, so I might fix those a little bit, but I'll probably just add some berries to cover it up a touch. So try to make your sprig a little straighter than mine. You can. But I'll add some berries to make it look a little bit more natural. But I'm just filling these in with green. I'm not doing anything more than that right now, just keeping it really simple. So there's a little of that. And I'm going to figure out where else I might want to add a little holly. So I might add another piece over here, like half on, half off the page. Now I should have kept my tape on. So now I have to be really careful. I got too excited and peeled my tape off. I could put it back on if I wanted to, but I also could just be careful on the edges. I'm trying to make the holly a little pointy. It's kind of like the Christmas cactus plants. The edges and the leaves are a little pointy. And I'm going to get nice and close to this edge so it looks like it's half on, half off. So I'm just going to be playful. I'm going to tuck in just a little bit of this here and there. So I'm going to do some on that are some off. And I'm doing them in clusters of 2 or 3, so there isn't one lonely little leaf by itself. And I'll come in and add little dots for berries on our holly after. So maybe I'll put a little berry down here in the corner. You can use your imagination. And as you know, for these classes, I always like to focus on a visual balance to the eye. So my brush is way too big, and I'm talking about that out loud. So if anybody else needs to recognize to downsize to a smaller brush, feel free to do that. I grabbed a smaller brush. I grabbed a number, well, this is a 2/0 fraction brush. So that is better for me right now. I don't know what I was using before. But I'm going to add some more holly over here on the left side, so it's just a little balanced to the eye. And I'm going to do another little cluster. This is going to be another little sprig coming down. So you can do as much of this as you wish, or as little. And I did a straight sprig over here. You can add as many of these little points as you wish. If you want to get these points smaller, just be careful on and focus on using just the tip of the brush. Not like the entire brush's body, but just the bristles on the end of the brush. There's so many brushes out there, and some of you may have started to explore getting really teeny tiny brushes. I have some. I typically don't use them for these classes, because I want to make them accessible and inclusive for everyone. So if people don't have fancy tiny brushes, I don't want you to feel like you're missing out on something. So I like to use fairly basic sizes, so we can show you and talk to you and coach you about how to use normal size brushes that you get in any pack, really, and how to make them work, because you can do a lot with these basic size brushes. So this is a whole lot of holly going on. I'm going to bring this in, and this is going to go just off the page for me down here. But I can continue to build. So if you all have been a part of these classes, we build upon our scene, right? You can build upon what we have. This green needs a quick second coat. So I'm just going to add in a second coat. I'm not doing any fancy depth techniques on this holly. If you want to add a darker green or a lighter green to make these pop, you're welcome to, right? To add a little bit of shading or brightness or depth, you can. I'm not going to do that today. I'm just doing a second coat wherever the brush strokes are coming through. I'm just going to go in and make those nice and clean. If anyone has any questions, please don't hesitate to ask. I'm excited to see how your work is coming along. Once we're done our holly and our berries, we can do a quick show and tell and see how everybody's doing. I'm sure some of you are doing different things. If I know this group at all, some of you are venturing out, which I appreciate. I always want you to go at your own speed. So if you are doing something different, incorporating your own designs, I support all of those things, as you know. But I love this. I'm considering all the things that we could be adding. So I'm not going to add those red berries until my holly is dry. I may add a little bit of sprinkles to my foam, which could be really fun while things are drying here. So if I wanted to add a little bit, using a teeny tiny brush, you can add sprinkles to your foam. Totally optional. But there's no time like the present to add sprinkles to something here. I love the three colors of sprinkles. There's like a red, a kind of a light minty green, which I might do the same color as this saucer. And you could do rounded dot sprinkles, or you could do these like long candy style sprinkles. And when you have too much water on your brush, you're going to get a little puddle like me. But don't freak out. Just wipe it up with your finger or a paper towel. I can always get a little white paint and touch that up too. So no big deal. If anything, I teach us how to not panic in these classes. Let's see. So I have a little bit of red here and there. Okay, I think that's enough red sprinkles. I can always add more. I'm going to add some of the saucer color sprinkles. I'm going to do 3 sprinkle colors, because I have that color on my plate too. So you want to pick colors that they can be anything you want them to be, but I'm doing colors that are kind of on this within the palette that we have. right. I didn't add any gray depth for my white frothing. I can always do that after. It's not a big deal. And if I'm adding in a candy cane or a peppermint or a cinnamon stick, I can always do that too after. And I might use like a dark green for this darker color sprinkle. So pick and choose what colors you wish. I'm going to do like a dark green for the third sprinkle color. And you can choose to do as many or as few as you wish. This makes me want like a delicious chai latte right now. I don't know about you all, but yum. I also haven't had a hot chocolate with a candy cane in it. That's a very festive thing. Has anybody not tried that before? Because it's quite amazing.
So good.
It's so good, and I haven't done it. My son has a pile of candy canes upstairs that he's been hoarding and sharing with his stuffies. I need to go take one and make one of those hot. I have a whole box of hot chocolate, so you all can count on me later here for having a hot chocolate with a candy cane in it later for my wild and crazy Sunday here, because I can't have anything else harder than that right now.
Right.
Oh. So I did some really fun sprinkles. I'm keeping this really fun and whimsical, as you guys can see. I really like that it's fun and simple. I have a little bit of red that like bled into my white. It's okay. I'm going to let it dry. Since my green holly is probably dry now, I can use a tiny brush and I can do little red berries on my holly, which is really easy to do right now. And I am going to put a little tiny bit of white with some of my red just to make sure they stand out. And this might be a pink. If it is, I can always add a little bit more red to it. But again, you're painting a paint color on top of another, and you want to make sure it's bold enough. So for me, I might do, you can do one or two berries in clusters. You kind of pick and choose. I started down here. You can start wherever you wish though. So I'm just doing rounded little berries. You can decide how big or how small these are. Manage how much paint is, use the tip of your brush. Manage how much paint is on the tip of your brush. So it's a little bit of mindfulness along the way here of where we're adding things. My sprig over here is curled, which is not really natural. So I'm going to paint my berries right on top of it to see if it helps that at all. And if not, I can fix it up after. I might do another little berry right here just to kind of cover it. Okay. So I'm keeping it nice and simple. I'm keeping a lot of the airy, like the air in the top, I'm not putting a leaf up here because I may do a set of twinkle lights, which is very exciting. And I also may do like some really pretty tiny white snowflakes, like pretty, like different designs to kind of sprinkle in the sky. So that's what I'm thinking about in that regard. I think I'm going to be simple with my design today, ladies and gents. I'm cleaning off my tiny brush. And another thing you can consider as we're adding details, I did little red berries. You're going to put a little bit of a dark green line down the middle of the holly. So I'm using a little bit of the green with a little bit of the black. If you wanted to put that vein-like detail, you can. You could also just do a straight line. So it's up to you on how much or how little detail you want to add to your holly. I'm doing a very soft hand. I'm doing a very thin brush stroke. You can decide. In the inspiration, it's just a single line. I'm adding like a little bit of vein-like detail coming off the pointed areas. You can decide if this is what you want to do or not. I'm doing it with a really gentle hand, so it's not It's not too bold per se, but you can decide if that's something you want to add or not. Just adding a little bit of extra detailed work to this space. So we'll finish up the holly. And then I promised we would show our pictures off to one another before we go too crazy on more detail. So we'll finish up this. In the next minute, we'll do a quick flip and reveal, show off our work. I'm excited to see how everybody's doing. Everybody's cups are going to look different. Everybody's holly is going to look different. It's going to be terrific. That's why we're here. All right, I'm going to remove the spotlight on myself and let everybody finish up your brush strokes. Nice. Oh, Susan, look at that healthy dollop of milk froth on top. Well done. That's what I want. Good thing I have whipped cream in the house, ladies, too, for my hot chocolate later. All right. Nice job, Sharon. The most perfectly balanced cup. Jenny, high five to your frothing on top. Really well done.
I'm
Nice.
using a very small canvas too.
Mm.
This is an 8x10 little canvas. I decided to use it because it's just a little painting.
Yeah. How do you like
Yeah.
using 8x10 compared to the 11x14s? Is it different for you?
Yeah, it's a lot more concentrated and it's covering the whole
Yeah.
picture.
I love
know?
it.
Yeah.
I'm using the same size too, Susan. I like it tonight for this
Yeah.
one.
Yeah.
I love
Yeah.
it. Well, I'm painting on in a smaller area too, ladies. If I measured this, it's probably smaller than 8x10, right? Because I taped my canvas.
Oh, yeah.
So I'm definitely painting in a smaller space, which I like doing that every once in a while. It's fun. Let me get my handy dandy ruler here. Yeah, so I'm painting within it's like a 6.5 by 9.5 space right now, which is quite fun. So I'm going to do a second coat for my berries. And then I'm going to jump into a little bit of white detail to offer you tonight, which is going to be quite a fun accent. So any of these details, this is where you can kind of choose your own adventure here for the last 15, 20 minutes of class. You can kind of choose your own adventure of some of the remaining objects. If there's a specific detail that you would like me to cover, let me know. I will put a candy cane in my mug so you can see that. And a cinnamon stick. We will do season's greetings written on our mug as well. As an option. If you don't want to do it, you don't have to, but I think it'll be quite fun. So I want my mug to dry, but we're gonna do some fun white detail as our next step. And the reason we're taking time to do the white detail is because there is white on the frothing of our cup. And this white detail that we're going to do is going to complement the white detail on our mug, on our frothing. And I love this type of white detail. This is like one of my favorite things because it's a little illustrative. And the detail I'll show you is some of these white sprigs that are kind of kicking in here on the bottom. There's two different designs, and I'll do both designs because I personally like both designs. So you can kind of pick and choose which designs you like. But use the smallest brush you have with white paint. And I'll re-spotlight my screen so you can see me nice and big. And I'm going to use this as I'm going to go for a sprig-like texture. So I'm going to find an angle and I'm going to do a white sprig coming down off my canvas. And I'm going to do a little round white ball on the top of this sprig. And I'm going to do little branches on the left and the right to create a stick-like figure. And then there's these little Ys that are coming off. So basically you're doing like a stick with a twig with different, Y branches, and you're gonna do little white balls. Again, you can see what I'm doing, so if you don't like it, you don't have to do it, but I'm doing little white round circles at the end of these. You can use your eye, figure out where you may need more, where you don't. Just a fun little sprig. And I'm gonna add another one over here. Then I'm gonna do a different angle. So this one is pointing to the right. This one maybe I can overlap it with my holly. It's okay to overlap. And I'm doing a nice, light, soft hand. This is the tricky part of trying to get something nice and thin. Do a little ball on top. Or a dot. Paying attention to using the tip of your brush. Then you can get your stick-like branches in first. And then you can kind of create your Ys off of those. It's kind of focusing on the structure first. And then you can put your little circles on top. There's lots of ways of doing it. You could do it any way you wish. So I'm being thoughtful of adding a couple of these, and then I'm going to add the other white design, just to show you what it looks like. If you don't want to do it, you don't have to. And the other white design I might just have coming up here towards the mug. So I might just do a sprig coming off the side on the left. And I might just do one coming off the right. Let's just see how this goes here. And these are going to have little tiny leaves. So it kind of looks like a little paintbrush over there. Do the same thing over here. And you can do thin leaves or wide leaves. And this detail may have a little leaf. You can make them long and skinny if you want. Maybe there's a little bit of a sprig with a little bit of a leaf on it. You can pick and choose, but I'm doing a little leaves. Some can be on a sprig, some can be right off the main branch. You can pick and choose here. So it's another style design to consider. And those will have like little fun details on them. Like on the inside, I'll do a little bit of a vein. Just have fun here. Consider what white detail you want to add. That's really your mission or your objective right now. What white detail would you want to add? I'm going to do a thin line in the middle of these little white leaves. Again, I'm just really dainty with just the tip of the brush, finding one or two bristles just to do a little bit of a texture. If you wanted to add like a little bit of a flower or something, this is me getting a little creative here, but I like demonstrating a little creativity here along the way. I have some of this teal from the saucer. I could put in little tiny blue flowers. Like this is me getting a little crazy here. But I could tuck in like a little bit of like a blue flower kind of tucked in into this like stem. Just add a little bit of a blue touch. Like if these look a little white and boring to you, you could just do a little bit of dainty blue flowers tucked in as an option, which is kind of fun. Could even do a little bit down here too. So this is where you play with your palette, right? The array of colors that you're using and just seeing what happens. It's quite fun. And I love snowflakes, ladies, and we don't do a ton of snowflakes in these classes. And I feel like 'tis the season. If anybody wants to try doing a snowflake with me, like with pretty little designs, like let's do it and try it together. That will be the next thing that I'll show you. And then we'll go back to our mug and we'll add like a candy cane and all that stuff. So I'm getting a little water. I'm getting a little bit of white. I'm just kind of setting myself up for success here. And I have a brush that I'm hoping is going to work with a nice thin tip on it. And there's several snowflakes in this inspiration that you can kind of look at to paint. I'll just do like a couple of basic ones. I'm going to do like 2 or 3 total snowflakes. And the first snowflake I'm going to do is just going to be one of my bigger ones. I'm just going to do a straight line down. And then I'm going to do an X shape through this. So I'm not going to do a plus. I'm going to do an X. So I'm going to do an X through the middle. So it's 6 prongs per se. And you want this to be fairly straight, which is probably the most difficult part. Of course, mine's not, but it's okay. I'm not striving for perfection here. And you can figure out these are long enough. So I did a straight line down, then I did an X through it. And then there's these upside down arrows. So I'm going to do 2 of these on each. So I'm going to pick one and it's a V really. Doing 2 V's stacked on top of one another. There's so many different types of snowflakes, but this is just the one I'm going to do first. So doing 2 V's on each of these sprigs. Get a little bit more paint. Try using the end of your brush. Just doing V's on each of these sprigs. Maintain the direction. Okay, and you can make some of these snowflakes a little longer if you need to. So that's not too bad. I'm gonna try to do a smaller one too. So you can use the same design or you can do a different design based on your creativity here tonight. I'm gonna try to do another one, the smaller one. Let's see. So from a proportions perspective, I'll probably do a little one right here. And then, so a straight line down and then an X. And then I'll probably do another one up here. And an X. And I think that'll be okay. I might add just one more little one over here. And I'm going to do the same little V-like design pattern. And if you can't do 2 V's, just do 1 V-like structure. And then if you wanted to add a little snow at the end, you could easily add a little snow, like dots of snow to kind of pull it all together. So I love putting little dots, especially you could even put them near your snowflakes with dots for snow. Totally optional. You don't need to do that. This isn't like a snowy scene, but if you wanted to add a couple dots here or there to add some additional flair, you could. So we're getting into our snowflakes and we haven't even showed off our pictures yet to one another, which some of you may have realized, but I just got right into the details here. Imagine that. So we'll finish our snowflakes and then we'll show off our work and then we'll finish up some of these details. And I'm happy to answer any questions that come up along the way. I'm very excited to see how everybody's doing. I might put just a couple little dots here and there. Like little dots on the ends of your snowflakes is really cute for consideration. Like it's twinkling, like a little dot on each end. It's like floating. It's a really cute little design. This is where you can do as much as you want for the composition of the picture today, but we're going to do season's greetings as well. So I will add the candy cane and then we'll do season's greetings together and then we can finish up. So I'm going to remove the spotlight. We're going to check in on one another and see how it's going so far. Nice. I love that. Sharon, nice job with your snowflakes. They're so pretty. And there, if folks want to fill, more space with more details, like a gingerbread cookie or a star cookie, a brown cookie with white dots. I love the orange too. You could add more. Oh, nice job with your snowflakes. Oh, Jenny, you did them a little bit different. I like that. One's a little bit more bright.
Yeah.
I love snowflakes. I would love to teach a class with do an intricate snowflake design. I don't know if people would have the patience for it. I think people just probably leave. But
I'd come.
yeah. So pretty. Nice job, Janice. Janice added a little bit of shading on her froth. High five for that. Jean's in the zone. She'll show me when she's done later tonight. Jean's been working extra hard on her paintings recently. Jean has spent hours after these classes. God bless your heart. I love your details.
Well, I decided I kind of need to do the same. Like my froth is still wet, so I'm going to have to add my sprinkles later and
Totally.
a few other things later.
Yep, totally fine. Yep. So let's do season's greetings since we're almost at 5:30 here Eastern. I'm going to use a pencil to do a little sketching, and then since everything else is drawing, I'm going to do season's greetings with pencil first, and then I'm going to use the same font that's in the picture. So I'll put the picture right here so you can see it. I'll spotlight. I like the font. It's really fun. I like that it's different. And I'll use a tiny brush to sketch it on. If anybody has like a white pen that you have in the house or even a gold pen, you could use, I have a gold Sharpie right here. I'm not sure if it would work or not, but I'll use my paintbrush just so it's a little more accessible. But I'm going to write out seasons first, and then I'll do greetings. So I'm using my pencil. This is cursive. And that was like not even big enough. So that's why we use pencil, ladies and gents. Mine was not big enough from a size perspective. And thank goodness I wasn't using a Sharpie. Whew, that would have been a catastrophe. All right, let's see if I can do it a little bit bigger. I think I just needed to move my font over a little bit. Okay, I think that's better. I can see it. And then greetings. My pencil is not going on very well on top of my paint.
Mine isn't either.
So we might just have to freehand this, which is a little terrifying, but we could do it. I would just try to do as lightly as possible.
Mm-hmm.
It's like barely working for me, but I think we're just gonna have to make it work. Okay, I'm gonna get a little courageous here. All right, let's find the smallest brush I own. Let's see here. I think this is my 2/0 fracture brush, which is the smallest brush you all likely have in front of you. And I'm gonna do white paint. Now, the worst thing, ladies and gents, is that you just paint over a letter if it doesn't look good. Don't worry, but I'm just gonna be bold and just go for it. This may or may not show up backwards for you based on Zoom, so apologies. I cannot even see my letters. Oh my gosh.
No, it's showing the right way.
Oh, it is, okay.
Yeah.
So mine is really off because I was misreading a letter, so I'm gonna have to paint over mine. So I'm just gonna go down to greetings and come back and fix my seasons because it's too close to one another. Or I could just add a little heart at the end of seasons and be really classy here. Maybe I'll just do that.
Hmm.
We don't do a ton of text and lettering in these classes. Seasons. Oh, I guess it might be okay. In some art classes, they have features where you can like trace text on. I do know how to do that. We just don't typically do a lot of that in my classes. But we can do more of that if anybody's interested in doing more text-based things. There are easy ways that you can print something and transfer like a shape or a design or text onto a canvas. There's a couple of easy ways of doing it with just everyday supplies. Okay, I guess I didn't mess that up too much. Season's greetings. Knowing me, I'll probably misspell something, so we can all have a laugh together if we have a misspelling. Okay. So greetings is really tall and narrow. See if I can do the G. So part of this is just having the confidence just to get it out. And finding an edge of your brush, finding a brush that works for you again is a big thing. You can always come and clean up your letters after.
This is mine. And believe me, I'm painting over that.
It's hard, Susan.
But it gave me a good idea of the placement
Yeah,
of what I'm trying to do.
yeah.
And I mean, I could leave it and just say this is the mug I made for my mother
Yeah,
when
right.
I was 10.
I know. Isn't that so funny? Amen to that. That's how my pencil sketch came out. My seasons were all on the left. I'm like, well, that's why we sketch out things. But yes.
Oh,
I thought I had it perfect, but I ran out of room for the S, so I'm just stuffing it on the side.
That's all right. This is a no judgment zone, okay? I do not care. And I don't think any less of any of you.
Susan, I was this many when I did this picture.
Oh, I feel like we've been enjoying the season's greetings, and
Yeah.
that's why we can't get this on this cup.
That's right.
I
Oh,
started with a T in the middle too, and I thought that would like even it right out. And then I did from there and it didn't work. Thought I was going to be all tricky.
yeah.
It's okay. I think my S is gonna be smushed too. Maybe I'll put my S in now to like help ground me.
There you go.
Let's get that damn S in.
Oh,
Yep. And then work the rest in.
My S is just gonna float a little bit here.
Yeah.
hey, you can always paint over your mistakes.
I know it.
Yeah.
I almost just want to leave it because it's funny. It makes me laugh when I see
Yeah,
it.
that's true.
Yeah. It's not like it's going in the Guggenheim or whatever.
No.
That's right.
Oh my goodness gracious.
Woo!
We won't be able to put it in the show next month.
I
No.
know. We'll have to keep it a highlight in our personal collection here. Oh, yeah.
It's so funny because I'm usually really good on paper with a pencil, in lettering. And I thought I had it.
Oh, it's so hard. A lot
Yeah.
of the professional like painters who do like windows and things, they
Yeah.
do like a lot of pre-sketching. So they look like perfect, but they go through so many revisions, before they do the final paint,
Yeah.
for it to look refined and such. So
Yeah,
it's
that
always
makes
a
sense.
process, no matter the person's ability.
When I was in undergrad at UMass Boston, one of the projects that we did was we worked with this Chinese artist who did, and it was about multicultural population at UMass Boston. And
Mhm.
so there was like a whole wall that he built. And I mean, it was amazing. It took a whole year. His work, I learned then what really goes into these projects.
Oh, yeah.
So it's not, I mean, to me, it's just like, oh, they just sort of whip it up. And no, this was like a lot of building.
Yeah, like
and-
the installations, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep. And it was a mirror. It was called something like Mirror on Diversity is what it was called. It might still be in the Wheaton building at UMass Boston,
Wow.
for all I know. I haven't been there for years. But we were all in it. There were like 10 of us that were in it.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So
That's
it was really fun.
amazing.
And I did learn a lot about, because I was like, I can't do art. And he was like, yes, you can. Yes, you can. You will, or you're going to flunk this class. That's
Yeah, right? Oh my gosh.
And I did. I mean, we all did pieces of the project.
Oh,
But
that's so cool.
yeah,
Cool.
it was very cool. I think it's still, I should probably go down there and see if I'm still on the wall.
Yeah.
down there. It was really cool.
Road trip.
Yeah, I know,
please.
right? To UMass Boston, Jenny, you want to go?
You drive.
That's
I don't
amazing.
Actually, we'd get on the train. I would drive to a certain point. Then I
Okay.
would call my son Lee, who would get us on the train for free. And he
Yeah.
worked for the railroad, so we'd be on the train most of the way.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't drive in Boston.
No, I used to do it all the time. I mean, I did. I used to drive in there like 4 days a week.
Wow.
No, that would not be happening now.
No, definitely not.
No, I don't know how. I guess you just get well, I knew where I was going and I knew,
You probably
Yeah,
knew
I
what
was
to
going to
expect.
school.
You had a route, right?
yeah, I had a specific route of course, it was during the big dig. I mean, this is how long ago it was. It was during the big dig, so sometimes the route would change, but I would know. I know it's funny, I know where I am. I don't get lost in the city,
Yeah.
which is interesting to me.
For
'Cause,
sure.
yeah, we didn't live there. We lived about 50 miles west,
Yeah.
but I know how to do
Mm-hmm.
if I have to.
Right.
I'd rather take the train. The train is a lot more fun.
Yeah. Agreed. Yeah.
Yeah.
Whenever I went into the city, which isn't that often, we would, drive to a certain point and then take the train in,
Yep.
like to a Red Sox game or whatever.
Yep.
So
It's-
ladies, I added a candy cane. I don't know if you saw me or not. I added a candy cane to my cup. I did a white candy cane first, and then I used a thin red piece, the thin red things thin red brush to use for the red striping once my white was dry. I am gonna mix a brown really quick to do a cinnamon stick because I think that would be really pretty. This is where we're finishing up any details, so I think folks are probably pretty close. If you wanted to add in anything else, again, feel free. I'm gonna mix a brown by using red and green. Red and green make a great brown. It's a little green, a little red. Mix. So let's just mix that around a little bit here. And I like the cinnamon stick look. It's kind of a grace grounding color. And that's going to be stuck like inside of the cup. So I'm going to do a little bit of a placement. Find my finger, do a little bit of planning here. And I'm just going to do it as straight as possible. This is where I always fail, my straightness. Yeah, it's a little angled, but it's okay. So I'm gonna just do a little bit of a cinnamon stick. I'm just using a small brush to start. I'll show you how to add we're almost done here, but I'll show you how to add a little shading to your froth as well. I'll probably add a little bit of white on the end of the cinnamon stick to kind of make it stick in a little bit more. If you wanted to add any other like brown objects, like a brown cookie, you could add like a brown cookie somewhere. Like if I wanted to do a little heart gingerbread cookie down here, you could. I'm gonna do it half on, half off the page. Add a lot of white to this, so it's a little bit lighter, but optional here. I'll do a little bit of a frosting outline on this too. So these are just the things you can do, any finishing touches. Think about what else you might want to add. I might do, I don't know. It's kind of cute the way it is. I might put another like tiny little heart cookie over here on the left or on the right, just so it matches. So I'm just doing another little heart. I'll do like a little white frosting detail on this little brown cookie, which will look really cute. It'll kind of bring it all together visually. I'm just doing a brown little heart cookie. With like this lighter brown color, and was spinning my brush, so I have a nice fine point. You can kind of do a lighter or a darker line down the center of your cinnamon stick to add a little bit of depth. My cinnamon stick was pretty dark, so I did a lighter line on the inside. The one in the picture was a little lighter with a darker accent. So I could also add a little bit of a darker accent just to show you what it looks like. Let's see. Like a little bit of the curl on the end. Let's see here. So this is where you can determine any of your finishing steps. I'm doing a little bit of a thin black line down the edge. just to add a little bit of extra dimension. If I don't like it, I can always paint over it. My little brown cookies are gonna have a little bit of white frosting on them once they're dry. But this is where you can look around and do any finishing touches. I do want to add a little bit of gray to the froth. So with a little bit of white and a tiny bit of black, I'm actually going to make a little bit of a gray water wash. I'll show you how to add a little bit of light smudging. I think Janice did some of this already. So I'm making like a little bit of a gray water wash here.
Megan, I did, but I confess it happened by accident. So I'm glad it
Isn't
worked
it
out.
funny when it happens by accident? It's all good. So I'm going to use, I have a gray water wash here. I'm going to take a little bit of this, just kind of manage how much is here. At the bottom of the white of the froth, right above my cup, I'm going to do a gray line right here. A little shading here at the bottom. If you wanted to use your finger, if it's clean, to do a little smudging, you can, to kind of blend in that edge. And then I want to make sure if you're going to do this next step, I'm going to have a really clean finger because I'm going to do some smudging here. But I'm going to do like a little bit of a kind of a rip curl here for like a bottom frothing edge. And I'm just going to blend that in with my finger. Or a little water even. You don't have to use your finger, but I'm just going to use a little water to kind of blend in that froth. You can even use your finger if you want to play with it. So you can create, you see I just created a little bit of a shaded area here for one layer of froth, and I'll just do another little bit of a curl layer of froth just kind of coming up on the top. So that's optional. It's just kind of showing where your froth curl may be. Curl swirl. So I kind of did a little one on the top and I kind of came down like a little ski track or a little ramp. And then I have kind of one going across. But I like it. It shows a little bit of dimension on the froth on how it was maybe put on. And then my brown cookies are probably dry. They just came out of the oven, but they're cool enough. So I'm going to put a little bit of white cookie frosting just to do a little bit of fun outlining. Just on the interior. And then I'm going to call it, you can have it go into as much or as little detail as you wish here, but I'm just going to do a little bit of fun frosting like detail. But I love this picture. This one might go on my wall. I think it's quite fun, whimsical. I hope you all had fun with this one. Nice. And if anybody wanted to add more snowflakes or add additional details, there's a little bit of black on the saucer. We didn't add that. Like little black line-like detail. I can do it just to show you what it looks like. You can look at mine and tell me if you like it or not, for you to decide if you want to do it on yours. But there's these like little black lines on the saucer. And I
Kind
can,
of get a little depth.
yeah, exactly. You could probably outline the saucer too with a little bit of black if you wanted to. No, you all are pros here, so you know the evolution of a painting, and the more you add detail to a given area, the more it does come to life. So it's just about being patient, understanding the process. I may outline this saucer with a little bit of black, just to make it stand out just a little bit. And I think that looks good. It's adding a little bit of depth to your point. Using a nice thin brush and going nice and slowly. And you could add a lot more. I was very intentional of keeping things simple, right? Versus entirely realistic with my picture today. So it's just about making some of those choices as an artist along the way here. But I'm going to unpin myself and remove my spotlight and see how everybody's doing. But there is mine. Can't wait to see how everybody did. Nice. Terrific. I love it. And if anybody feels like their cup needs like to be on a table or something, you can always add in a table or whatever you, of course. There's Miss Janice. Janice, nice. I like it. Susan, love it. So cute. So you could, if you are inspired to add more snow, you could add more snow, right? So think about what other things you may want to add and where. You could do pretty snowflakes. You could do little dots, right? To fill space if you need it. Nice job, Jenny. I love the frothiness of your froth. It's so beautiful. Miss Jean, Jean might have done like a green mug, knowing Jean's style. She just really likes to mix things up over there. I'm excited to see Miss Jean's when she's ready to show it. She may want to wait a few hours, but I appreciate her level of detail here. But I want to thank you all so much for being here. We're close to 2 hours today, and I think it was worth it. I hope you had fun with the details. Sometimes it's fun slowing down.
That was a lot of fun. Thank you, Megan. Thanks, everybody. Happy
Good.
holidays.
Thank you, Megan. Happy holidays, everybody.
Happy holidays. Yeah, I'll switch my video really quick. Let's see. Perfect. Yeah, it was so nice to see everybody. I want to thank you for being here and have a wonderful holiday with your family. You know, we have to find that window just to like take that time for ourselves to recharge if we can. It's so hard based on everybody's schedules. Everybody has different work schedules too. So I acknowledge that. But I just want to know I'm thinking of each of you, and I'm sending you all each the very best this holiday. So take some time for you, and nice to see you all.
Same here, Megan.
Happy holidays, everyone. Thank
All
you so
right.
much, Megan.
Take care, everybody.
Bye.